Hi, good morning, Ji.
Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande
Guru
Guru-paramparam. Om Sahana-vavatu Sahana-bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so we are now on the last three verses. We will read the 40th verse. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Agnyascha Shraddhadhanascha Hamsayatma Vinashyati Nayam Lokosti na Paraha Nasukham Samshayatmanaha. Okay. So look at the word breakups. Agnya cha ashraddhadhanaha cha samshayatma vinashyati na ayam lokaha asti na paraha na sukham samshaya atmanaha. So the Anvaya, Agnya, the one who has no discrimination. I'm going to stop you from unmuting yourself so that the disturbance is not there. Okay. So Agnya, the one who has no discrimination, cha, and Ashraddhadhanaha, the one who has no faith, and Samshayatmaha, Samshaya Atma. So Atma here is the person, Samshaya Atma is a doubting person. The person who has a doubting mind. And what happens to him? Vinashyati. He is destroyed, he perishes. That is the first statement. And the second statement is the hetu, the reason. Because Samshaya Atmanaha, for the person with a doubting mind, for the person who is always having doubts, then what is there? Ayam lokaha na asti na para lokaha. And for that you have to add the adjective sukham. So you have to say ayam samshayatmanaha, for this person who has a doubting mind, ayam lokaha sukham nasti, there is no happiness in this world, and paralokaha sukham nasti, there is no happiness in the next world. So Krishna is talking about what? About obstructions for jnanam. And he talks about three separate negative traits. The first one is ajnanam, and of course ajnanam can be atma ajnanam, it can be ajnanam about the world also. In fact, in this current world, even for a person who is not on the spiritual path, ignorance is a big obstruction, right? So if you want to live a normal productive life, you should be a well-informed person. Even if you want to go somewhere, say from Trivandrum, you want to go to Ahmedabad, then you should know, you should be informed. What are the ways of going? Can I go to airport and enter a flight for Ahmedabad? Or should I go to that railway station and take a flight? Or should I drive down? You should have all these options available. Therefore, you should be well informed. To lead a healthy worldly life, you have to be well informed. So Jnanam is important, therefore, even for worldly life. And Ajnanam is a negative. That's the first one. And if you have Atma Ajnanam, that is negative for spiritual life. Second one is ashraddha, lack of faith in the scriptures, which is ashraddha, and samshayaha, doubts. So the person who doubts the teachings of the Veda, the Nastika, he says, no, what Vedas is not correct. I need proof. I need mystical experiences. And so Krishna says, this doubtful person, this doubting mind, the samshaya atma, will have the maximum number of problems. And Shankara adds in his notes, by way of clarification, the ajnani, the one who does not have knowledge, because of the ajnanam, because of the lack of knowledge, he cannot get moksha. But now this is the atma ajnani. He cannot get moksha because he doesn't have any knowledge of atma jnanam. But he can do punyam and he can get swarga sukha. So he can get happiness in the next world. So the ajnani, because of his ajnanam, and Shankaracharya takes it as atma ajnanam, because of his ajnanam, he will not be able to get moksha, that's for certain. But he might be believing in the scriptures, he might have done rituals, so he would have got punyam, and therefore he can go to the next world and swarga and get sukham over there. So he may not get moksha, but he will get sukham. So that is the first one. Then the ashraddha. So the ajnani is a person who believes in the Veda and therefore he does punyam and therefore he gets sukham in the next world. But the ashraddha, he does not believe in the Vedas, he does not believe in scriptures, he does not believe in karma, punyam, papam, swargam, but he believes in the pleasures of this world. He's a materialistic person. He believes in the pleasures of this world, so he's well informed. Right? He has informed himself well about this world. And therefore he will get what? He will not get moksha sukham, nor will he get punya sukham from and go to and get sukham from the next world, but he will get ihaloka sukham. He will get sukham in this world because he has informed himself, he has kept himself abreast of all that is required for living well in this world, and he will definitely get materialistic pleasures. But he does not get moksha sukham or swarga sukham. So ajnani gets swarga sukham but does not get moksha sukham. Ashraddha gets material sukham, ihaloka sukham, but does not get moksha or swarga sukham. So two people, one gets pleasures elsewhere, one gets pleasures here. And both don't get moksha. But the samshaya atma, the person who is doubting, right? Now, samshaya atma is a big problem, says Shankara, because even though he is well informed in this world, everywhere he has got doubts. So if he goes on a journey, after entering the airplane, suddenly he will doubt, did I lock the door or not? And therefore he is constantly in worry. He cannot trust anybody, he cannot trust anyone. Where is the question of ihaloka sukham? Because in everything he has got doubt. He may be knowledgeable, but in spite of being knowledgeable, he has got doubts all the time about this person, about that person. Did I do this? Did I do that? What will happen if I do this? What will happen if somebody else behaves like this? Those doubts he has always got. So therefore he is never at peace. There is no ihaloka sukham for him at all, because he is doubtful about everything. What about swarga loka sukham? What about going to the next world and getting some sukham? A man who is doubting everything in this loka itself, naturally, how can he not have doubts on the scriptures? And therefore, he will not believe in the scriptures also, because he doubts it may not be correct. So why should I believe in it? Therefore, for him, there is no ihaloka sukham. In this world, there is no happiness. Swargaloka also, there is no happiness. And since he does not believe in the scriptures, there is no atma jnanam and there is no moksha also. And therefore he says, such a person is a big problem. All the three, which three? The ajnani, the ashraddha, and the samshayatma. All three have problems. All three will fall. But the fall of the samshaya atma is the most complete. It is the extreme fall, because what is the worst enemy? Samshaya. And therefore, in Sanskrit there are comparative degrees. Like there is a papi, that is a sinner. Then the papiyan. Papiyan is a comparative degree. So a more accomplished sinner. A papi sinner. Papiyan is a better sinner or a worse sinner. And papishtaha is superlative degree. So the best sinner, the most superlative among all sinners. If you look at the comparison of the words over here, Agneha is papi. Why? Because he gets at least Sukham means Svargaloka. Then Agneha plus Ashraddhavan is papi, is comparative. He is more than a papi because he has a problem in both places. And then Agneha, Ashraddhavan plus Samshayatma is papishtaha. He is superlative because not only does he have no Sukham anywhere, he also doesn't get moksha. So these three things Krishna shows that there is a difference in degrees, but the one who is a Samshayatma, whose mind is always full of doubts, he will never get happiness in this world, in the next world, nor will he get moksha. The other two, at least there is happiness in this world and in the next world. So it's a very basic lesson that in life, some amount of basic trust is required everywhere. With regard to your family members, definitely. With regard to your office colleagues and subordinates, definitely. Because in office, you have to give responsibilities, right? Delegation is involved. You have to trust somebody. Teamwork is involved. And if you do not trust anybody, what will happen? You will try to do every job and then miserably fail in everything. So it's like appointing a driver. I pay him, but I don't trust him to drive. So I end up driving, and the driver will sit in the back seat and enjoy himself and get his salary. So trusting is unavoidable, but of course, trusting involves risk. And so we all know that if you refuse to trust, it's very difficult to live a comfortable life. So you have to trust your children also. How long can you walk behind them? So trust has got a risk factor. Right? At the same time, that risk factor cannot be got rid of. Every act of trust is also an act of risk. It is same in the case of Vedanta also. You have to trust Vedanta. Whether Vedanta will benefit or not, how will you know? No. There are many people who come and say, "How I want to come to the class, but how do I know whether there is any benefit for it at all?" There's a doubt. There is no trust. So you have to come, you have to attend the class, and after sufficient number of exposure, sufficient years of exposure, maybe 1, 2 years, 3 years exposure, if you still come and say, there is no benefit at all, then the teacher himself will tell you, please don't come, because you are not ready. Not that something's wrong with Vedanta, but you are not ready, you don't have the necessary chitta shuddhi, therefore you are wasting your time. And therefore Shankara sums up in one cryptic line, Tasmat samshaya na kartavya. So please do not have doubts. Shankara's extraction from this whole verse is, please don't have any doubts in the Shastram. Shastram has benefited thousands of people. It will definitely benefit you if you know what is to be done. Okay. Now I will just unmute you all. Right. Now you can unmute yourself and we will look at verse number 41. We will chant. Yoga sanyasta karmanam.
Yoga
sanyasta karmanam.
Jnana sanchinna samshayam.
Jnana samshayam.
Atmavantam na karmani.
Atmavantam na karmani.
Nibadnanti dhananjaya. Okay. So let us look at it. You have to break it up. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchinna samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibadnanti he dhananjaya. And Anvaya is Dhananjaya, hey Dhananjaya, O Arjuna, Karmani na nibadnanti. Actions do not bind whom yoga sannyasta karmanam. So you read from the right to the left like Urdu. Karmanam, actions, sannyasta, renounced, yoga, through yoga. So he Dhananjaya, karmani na nibadnanti yoga sannyasta karmanam. Actions do not bind a person who has renounced actions through yoga, and therefore jnana sanchinna samshayam. Again read from right to left. Samshayam, doubts. Sanchinna, completely severed. Chinnam is severance. Samchinnam is samyak chinnam, complete severance. Jnanam, through knowledge. So actions do not bind a person who has renounced actions through yoga and whose doubts have been completely severed by knowledge. And such a person, Atmavantam, he is an integrated person who is mindful. So here Krishna is summing up the sadhana and the phalam. Sadhana and the phalam, sadhana phalam, both are being summarized. And here very beautifully is presented as different levels of sadhana. So yoga sannyasta karmanam. So yoga, obviously karmanam sannyasta yoga. When you say actions are renounced through yoga, what yoga does it mean?
Karma yoga.
Karma yoga.
Ashtanga yoga. Ashtanga yoga.
Jnānayoga.
What does renunciation of knowledge mean? Of karma mean? Can you really renounce karma?
No, Jnanam. You understand that you are not.
So you understand that you are not the karta. That is the only way to renounce. And therefore here yoga means jnana yoga. So this is how you understand a verse. You have to look at it in the overall context. So karmanam sannyasta yoga means karmani, actions which have been renounced through jnana yoga. And what is that jnana yoga? I am the Atma which is akarta. I am the Atma which is akarta. And this is, you learn this in which stage of Jnana Yoga? In the Shravanam stage. Because in the Shravanam stage, the teacher tells you that you are the Atma, Atma is Akarta. So Yoga Sannyasta Karmanam, the compound refers to Shravanam. So a person gets detached from the actions because he understands through Shravanam that karma doesn't belong to me, who am the Atma, but karma belongs to the body and the mind complex. With that knowledge, the body and the mind complex is allowed to function in the world, but without identifying with the body and the mind. And therefore, he has renounced karma identification. So renouncing karma means renouncing identification with the karta. This is the first stage, which is Shravanam. Right? We must understand properly. Krishna has talked about in the 3rd chapter. He has talked about this particular sannyasa. What has he said? Nahi kaschit chanamapi jatu tishtatya karma kriti karyate hevasya karma sarvaha prakritihi jai gunaihi. He has said that in verse number 3, which means what? A person cannot renounce karma kaschit chanamapi, not even for an instant. Because karyate hevasya karma, everybody does karma. Prakritihi jai gunaihi, born from the, that karma is propelled by the 3 gunas of Prakriti. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. What is the answer here? Ahankara vimudhatma kartarham iti manyate. The karma sannyasa is understanding that karma is mithya. Mithya, which is what? Understanding that the karta is mithya. Therefore, karma mithyatva nishchaya. The understanding that karma is nothing but mithya, it is not real, not satyam. That is the answer over here. For example, I'll let us say that you have a necklace of German silver, right? What is German silver? It contains no silver. There's only copper, zinc, and nickel. And it's a very, very expensive necklace. And then, there's an income tax rate in your house. And they say, you possess a lot of silver. And you say, no, I don't possess any silver. Now, your knowledge that you have no silver, in spite of a shining silver neck ornament in front of you, comes from where? From the understanding that the shining silver necklace is not real. That is the understanding for karma. It is not that you don't perceive it. You do it, you engage in it, but you know it is mithya. So it is not karma anymore. It is karma abhasa, as if karma. Right? So this is the first stage. This is what is meant by yoga sannyasta karmanam, understanding that I am a karta. The Shravanam. Then the next one is Jnana Sanchinna Samshaya. This should be fairly clear. He has negated all the doubts by getting a conviction. What is a conviction? That whatever I have learnt in Shravanam, that I am a karta, is absolutely true. And now I have no more doubts. So he has convinced himself only. I mean, you don't need to convince anybody else. You have to convince yourself. Actually, be convinced of the knowledge. And therefore, I have to ask myself, I have to repeat the Shravanam again and again and again and ask myself after every Shravanam, am I convinced of this knowledge? What is the knowledge? I am Brahman. Aham Brahma Asmi. Once you are convinced, this Jnana Samchinna Samshayam stage is over. What is it called? In other words?
Mananam.
Mananam.
Right. So this first one, yoga, that first one is what? Yoga Sannyasta Karmanam, it is Shravanam, and Jnana Sanchinna Samshayam is Mananam. When all this happens, Atmavantam, I am constantly remembering the teaching, which now is having no doubts for me, and therefore this is Nidhidhyasanam, where I am constantly alert, so that the teaching is available to me every moment of my life. So this is not a teaching to be, remembered only on Sunday mornings. This jnanam should be available to me in my day-to-day life, in my every single transaction, it should be available to me. So Atmavan. Atmavan means the one who has Atma as himself, who is himself Atma, the one who leads an alert life, the one who keeps his knowledge fresh during every transaction. By what? By remembering that I am Atma. So Shankara here in his commentary says Atmavan is equal to Apramatha. Apramatha. Not Pramata. Okay. Apramatha. Pramata means the one who has no laziness. So he is alert all the time. He remembers the teaching all the time. He is constantly aware that he is Atma, even when he is engaged in worldly activity. And the one who has passed through all these three stages, Karmani na nibadnanti. Karma does not touch him at all. So the beautiful summation of what we have studied so far. Now we look at the last verse. We chant. Taspad ajnana sambhutam.
Tasmat
Kritsnam jnana sinatmanah.
Manaha
Chitvainam samsayam yogam.
Vainam Samyogam
Atishthotishta bharata.
Atishthata
Iti Srimad Bhagavad Geeta Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre.
Srimad Bhagavad
Bhagavad-gītāsu
Brahmashastru
Upaniषत्su Yoga-shastre
Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturthodhyayah.
Krishna.
Krishna Arjuna Samvade
Jnana-karma-sannyasa-yogo nama chaturthodhyayah.
Tathaya.
So,
Raviji,
sorry, go
is
ahead.
this Jnana Vibhaga or I heard Jnana you said?
Sambhutam. You have separate another text. Which text are you using?
No, I'm asking which one?
No, what are you talking about? You heard what?
Okay. I heard Jnana Sannyasa.
In the verse you mean? In the verse you mean?
Asking about the name of the chapter.
The name
No.
of the chapter is
The name of the
Chapter name of-
chapter is Jnana Sannyasa Yoga.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. So, Tasmat, the breakups, Tasmat, Ajnana Sambhutam, Ritstam, Jnana Asina, Atmanaha, Chitva Enam, Samshayam, Yogam, Atishta, Uthishta, Bharata. So in the background, those who are TTC graduates will be hearing the, what are you hearing?
Kapalabhati.
Kapalabhati. So you'll have to bear with that. There's no way to avoid it right now. So we look at the words. Tasmat. Therefore, Hey Bharata, O Bharata. I'll just mute it so that I'm not going to change, you'll still hear it anyway. Tasmat, Hey Bharata, Chitva, having cut, having killed, Jnanasina, with the sword of knowledge, Enam Samshayam, this doubt, about what? Atmanaha. So, Tasmat, Chitva, Jnanasina, Enam, Atmanaha Samshayam. Therefore, Hey Bharata, having slain, having cut with this sword of knowledge, this doubt about self-knowledge, Atmanaha, which is Ajnana Sambhutam, born out of ignorance, which is rooted in the mind, Hritstam. That, where is that doubt resident? Hritstam, in your mind. What should you do? Cut it with the sword of knowledge. And then what should you do? Uthishta, get up here, Arjuna. And yogam athishta. Yogaha is karma yoga. Athishta means initiate, take to. So get up and take to karma yoga. So Arjuna, you have to get rid of doubt, which is your worst enemy. What is that? Follow, and what is the process? Follow karma yoga, purify the mind. Follow upasana yoga, focus the mind. Follow jnana yoga, enlighten the mind and be free. So this is the basic teaching of the Gita. Karma yoga for mala nivrittihi, upasana yoga for vikshepa nivrittihi, jnana yoga for moksha. And having clearly grasped this teaching, hey Arjuna, may you remove the doubt regarding the sadhana. And therefore, jnana asinaha. So jnanam is knowledge, asihi is a sword. So by the sword of knowledge, what should you do? Atmanaha samshayam chitva. May you destroy your doubt regarding karma yoga and jnana yoga sadhana. Why does he say this? Because Arjuna was sitting on the chariot and saying, I don't want to fight. Arjuna's karma yoga is the battle, is to fight. So he says, don't throw away that opportunity. You cannot come to jnana yoga without coming to karma yoga. Somebody has opened out mic, so I have muted you all so that you will not be able to hear. So after the end, I will unmute you again. So Krishna is saying, first go through karma yoga. Go through karma yoga, then only you will get chitta shuddhi. Without chitta shuddhi, you cannot come to jnana yoga. And what type of doubts he is talking about? Ajnana sambhutam. Every doubt is a product of ignorance only. And because it is a product of ignorance, a doubt can only go through knowledge, because only knowledge can remove ignorance. No amount of meditation, no amount of pranayama, no amount of asana practice can remove ignorance. Only knowledge can. And therefore, Jnana asina, with the sword of knowledge, with the knife of knowledge, may you destroy that ignorance, may you cut the ignorance. And therefore, when ignorance is gone, the product of ignorance, which is the samshayam, the doubt, that will also go. And where does this ignorance reside? It's thumb, in the heart. Remember that heart is the physical heart. When the Shastram talks about heart is a physical heart. Shankara says it many times over in his commentary that it is the physical fleshy heart. But when you say resides there, Jnanam resides there, you have to not take the Vachyartham, the direct meaning, you have to take the Lakshyartham. And the Lakshyartham of the heart is the mind over here. Why? We have to remember that the heart is the golakam for the mind. Shastra says that very clearly. Therefore, here when he says the doubt resides in your heart, it is the doubt resides in your mind. And therefore, what is he saying? Hey Arjuna, you have to take the sword of knowledge and you have to remove your doubt, because the doubt is in your own mind. I cannot do anything in your mind. Any operation in your mind has to be done by you only. I can assist, Arjuna, but the actual destruction should be done by the student only. The teacher can give you scriptural quotations, the teacher can give you supporting logic, the teacher can talk about the anubhava, the experiences which you have which support the whole conclusion. But all those combined together, you have to use your intellect and you alone have to remove that doubt. Chinnam. And therefore, chitva ritsam samshayam. And Shankara adds over here that samshayam here means that samshayam which is the cause of your own destruction, spiritual destruction. And therefore, what should you do? Athishta yogam. Uthishta first, get up. Athishta yogam. May you take to karma yoga, which is the appropriate path for you for the time being. Because, hey Arjuna, you are not fit for sannyasa right now. Therefore, be a grahastha, do your duty, even though you don't like doing the duty, because it is the unpleasant duty of killing your own relatives or your own kith and kin. But given the circumstances, you cannot avoid that. And therefore, Arjuna, get up, Uthishta, get up, take your bow and arrow. I will drive the chariot and you start the fight and do your duty. This chapter is called Jnana Karma Sannyasa, because I have to give up the understanding that I am a karta. And by giving up the understanding I am a karta, then only I give up karma. And how do I give up the understanding that I am a karta? Atma Jnanam alone can help me to resolve this karta as mithya, to understand that the karta has status only as mithya. And when the karta is mithya, karma itself becomes mithya. All the factors of karma, all the actions, all the factors of actions of karma, 7 actions are there, right? 7 factors for every action. Karta, karma, all those things, they become mithya. And for such a person, what remains a satyam? After resolving everything as mithya, what remains a satyam? Only I, the Atma, remain as satyam. Everything else is covered in the mithya status. And therefore, how to get this knowledge? Uthishta. Get up and take to karma yoga to start the process of purification. Okay. That is the interpretation given by Shankara. But we can also take this as an answer to one question which he asked long ago. What did he say? Tadekam vada nischitya yena shreyo hamapnayam. What should I do, hey Krishna? Should I follow karma yoga or jnana yoga? So the first interpretation is what? That you are not ready. Hence, prepare yourself through karma yoga. The second interpretation is a direct answer to that question. Give up your doubts regarding Atma Swarupam and take to Jnana Yoga, Nididhyasanam. How do you free yourself from these doubts? That Krishna talked about earlier. Jnanagni sarva karmani basmasat kurute tatha. That is how you study. Go back to the notes, read again and again. And therefore, if you look at this whole verse, the last verse, It can be interpreted as being addressed to two people. First, the sadhaka, the one who is struggling, what should I follow first, karma yoga or jnana yoga? That is one person. So that clearly says that you are not ready and therefore you should follow karma yoga. So the first person is a person who is a sadhaka who is trying to decide which sadhana to follow. The second person is a person who has completed karma yoga and upasana yoga. He's got chitta shuddhi. He is sadhana chatushri sampannaha. But now he has a doubt about who he really is. What is his real nature? So both these people can be addressed. To the first person, the answer is do karma yoga. The second person, the answer is you already got chitta shuddhi. Now come to Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. So with this chapter is over. Any doubts, any questions? Everybody is perfect in the chapter? Good. So we still have some time. So we can actually, I can try giving you a small summary of the whole chapter. Do you want that? Oh, I have not, what they call, let you muted yourself. Okay, fine. One second. All right. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, please, Ravi.
Yes,
Please go
sir.
ahead with
Yes.
the summary.
Acharya,
Yes, please.
I have a
Oh,
question.
Om sir. Om.
yes, please go ahead.
You said in verse 440
Yeah.
that three stages, that a person who is agyani, he does not get benefit in Swargaloka. He gets the benefit of Swargaloka happiness, Ihiloka happiness, but no moksha.
No, Ajnani, I didn't say that. Ajnani doesn't get benefit in this loka because he doesn't have any knowledge at all.
He gets happiness in Swargaloka.
Yeah.
And then the person who has no Shraddha, Ashraddhavan, he does not get the benefit even for this loka because he's always doubting.
No, you got it all wrong. So I suggest you go back over the thing, and that's why I say keep notes. Even while, of course, it's difficult to do notes while you are listening.
I was just keeping notes, but then I missed out on that.
Yeah, so just go over the chapter again and take the notes. So let me just start the summary. So this has been a long chapter. It can be classified into, three major portions. So covering some verses which cover the avatara, the incarnation of the Lord. Some portions which cover the major portion which covers the Jnana Karma Sannyasa part of it. And the third portion which covers the Jnana Sadhana Phalani, the benefits of Jnana Sadhana. So in the first portion, which is the first 15 verses, Krishna shows that there are differences between the birth of an avatara and the birth of a jiva. So even though superficially they all look the same, there are three main differences. One is the cause of the avatar, the karanam. Jiva's birth is caused by avidya. Why? Because of avidya, he has got ahankara. Because of ahankara, he acquires punya papam through karma, and then to what they call work of the karma, he has to take birth. So that is the cause of the jiva's birth. Ishvara has no avidya, but because of compassion or because of something which he has to do in this world, he takes birth. So jiva falls into samsara, but Ishvara descends into samsara to help out the one who has fallen. So Janma and Karuna, Jnanam and Karunam, these are the Ajnanam and Karunam are the difference. One is Ajnanam, Jiva's birth, and Ishvara's birth is Jnanam and Karuna, Jnanam and compassion. These are the basic factors responsible for the birth of Avatara and Jiva. That is why we don't say birth of Avatara, we say Avatara. Avatara is literally Avatarati, comes down. Okay. That is the first one. Then there is the nature, the Swarupa. So there are two differences. Because of avidya, jiva is bound and therefore he suffers. Ishvara is ever free. That's mukta swarupa. And the second difference is a technical one. In the case of the jiva, the body is made out of 5 elements. This we talked in great detail. Maya produces the elements and the elements combine and there is a bhautikam and the body is made of the 5 elementals. The bhautika sharira jiva. In case of Ishvara, it's a direct conversion of Maya into Shariram. So there is no Panchabhutani and Panchabhautikani involved. There is a direct conversion of Maya into Shariram. That is the second portion. And the third difference is the purpose, the Lakshyam. In the case of the Jiva, the purpose of the birth is the exhaustion of the Punyam and Papam. And for the exhaustion of Punyam and Papam, a physical body is required. And therefore, the subtle body takes on a physical body and experiences Sukham and Dukkham. And if you ask, how do we know this? So in Sushupti Avastha, when the Sukshma Shariram and the Sthula Shariram are more or less dormant, excepting for Pranamaya Kosha, there is no experience. And therefore, there is no Punya and Papa experience. Okay. Ishvara's avatara is not for Punya Papa Shaya. He doesn't have to exhaust any Punya Papam because Ishvara is beyond Punya Papam. Because he is Srishtikarta, Sthitikarta. Because of that, the fact that he is the Srishtikarta and Sthitikarta, he has to do whatever is needed to maintain the harmony of creation. And therefore he says, Yada Yada Dharmasi. The method of maintaining creation is a dharmic way of life. If the entire world always was dharmic, then the avatara would not be necessary. But when this is ignored, then the avatara has to come. And the avatara has 2 methods of functioning. One is the direct method, removing adharma directly, eliminate the evil. So he is vinashaya drishkatam, he says. And the second method is education, which he also talks about, dharma sanstapana artha. So the avatara destroys and educates. Therefore, avatara has 2 purposes, dharma rakshanam and veda rakshanam. And Krishna says, whoever knows both these aspects, he will get freedom. It's worthwhile noting that, avatara is discussed only in the Bhagavad Gita, where no other text, no other chapter mentions this. Okay. Then Jnana Karma Sannyasa is the second topic. This is verse number 16 to 24. And this is the Tatparyam, the central theme not only of this chapter, but also of the entire Bhagavad Gita. And there are 2 types of sannyasa. One is the normal sannyasa, which we call the Chaturtha Ashrama Sannyasa. Sannyasa, quit your society, quit the relationships and become a sannyasi. Dedicate a life to the pursuit of jnanam. And the other is purely internal sannyasa, by discovering vairagyam. And by discovering Atmajnanam, the only way to do this is to change your understanding. So as a body, as a mind, when I'm associated with the body and the mind, association with karma is not avoidable. I have to associate with karma. And therefore, if I want to be a karta, I have to discover a different identity for myself, other than the body and the mind. So I discover the identity which is Atma, which is like space. Again, associated with everything, but asangaha, not polluted with anything. Body-mind complex, remember, is essential part of creation. And as long as body-mind complex is there, interactions with the world and other people will continue. But once I understand myself as different from the body and the mind, then I am like the actor who is playing the role of a king, but I know I am really not the king. The actor knows he is different from the character he is playing. And this knowledge is through Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. And this is why this chapter is called Jnana Karma Sannyasa. Jnanena Sannyasa, Jnanena Karma Sannyasa. That is, through Jnanam, karma is given up. Renunciation of action through knowledge. Physically, remember, action is not stopped. Actions cannot be stopped. But since the identification of myself as the karta is gone, ownership is absent. And once ownership is gone, then I handle myself how? As a trustee of Ishvara. So the 19th verse of the 4th chapter, it says very briefly that this jnanam will serve as a shock absorber for you from all the problems of life. And the 20th verse says Tyaktva karma phalam. So while describing the jnani, Krishna talks about the sannyasi as well as the grahastha jnani. So verse number 20 and verse number 24. Brahma arpanam, verse number 24, is the description of a grahastha jnani because it talks about the ritual. A very important verse of Gita, we said, it talks of the highest knowledge. And what is that highest knowledge? Highest knowledge not just in the Gita, highest knowledge across all the Vedas, which was what? That Sarvam Brahma. That verse number 24 basically means there is only Brahman. There is only Satyam. Mithya itself is the biggest Mithya you can think of. And what does it mean? Liberation is not a product of any ashrama. You can be in Grahastha, you can be in Brahmacharya, you can be in Vanaprastha, you can be in Sannyasa. Moksha is not a product of the ashram, but the wisdom. It's a product of wisdom or knowledge. And that knowledge is possible in every ashrama. Without knowledge, every ashrama is a bondage. And without that knowledge, sannyasa ashrama is very risky. Remember, a householder, a grahastha, can manage his life without jnanam. But a sannyasi can never manage his life comfortably without jnanam. And that is why we say that you first ensure that you are ready for jnanam, that you have the necessary qualifications, and then only you take sannyasa. So that is why traditional ashrams, you like say the ashram, Jnana ashram, you go there where the traditional teaching is present. If you ask for sannyasa, it is never given to you. First, you have to be taught. In Gurukula also, that is why there were no sannyasa was never given, because first the entire teaching has to take place. Once the teaching is taken place and you are assimilated, then the teacher will see whether you are ready for, whether the knowledge is so deep embedded in you that you are ready to give up your grahastha life. Because grahastha life has no problems. You have lots of opportunities to fulfill your ragadvesha. But in sannyasa life, these opportunities are absent, and therefore the teacher has to assess whether you are ready to give up to come to a life where the opportunities to indulge in ragadvesha are minimized. Once he's sure that you are ready, then sannyasa presents no problem. So that is the third topic. And the last topic is the benefits, the jnana sadhana phalani, which we saw from the topic number 25 to the last verse. And what are they? There were 12 yajñas: Deva yajña, Vishaya yajña, Dhamma, Sama yajña. So Vishaya yajña was what? Offering to the Lord. Dhamma is sense mastery. Sama is mastery of the mind. Dravya yajña, charity with objects. Tapo yajña, moderation in everything. Yoga yajña, practicing the asanas. Swadhyaya yajña, parayanam of scriptures. Jnana yajña, 2 types of self-knowledge. There were 2 types, one is paravidya, one is aparavidya, both we talked about. Then there was pranayama yajña, then there was ahara niyama yajña, disciplined eating. And then there was the topic of importance of the teacher, who can communicate this teaching in a way that I can understand, who himself has been a student so that he knows the right way of teaching, and who is able to communicate also. So Shrotriya, Brahmanishta, teacher you must have. That was in verse number 34. Tadvidhi pranipatena. Then in the 39th verse, Krishna talked about Shraddha. So he said, may you have faith in the words of the scriptures and the teacher. And when you don't understand, please ask questions. And never reject the scriptures. For if you reject the scriptures, the loss is always yours. Scripture loses nothing. And therefore one needs courage to walk on the spiritual path. All these yajñas have their roles, but jnanam alone can remove ajnanam. And jnanam can come only from the shastram, because shastram is Nothing but showing you a mirror. And what do you see in the mirror? You see your Swarupa, your true nature. Okay, and the 33rd verse, he said that whichever yajna you choose, you can select any yajna you want to practice, but every yajna has to finally parisamapyate jnanena, has to terminate in Jnana Yoga only. There is no option for Jnana Yoga. And that is why we said that you look at Indian temples, you will find many gates, but only one sanctum. So you can enter the temple through many gates, but to enter the sanctum, there is only one gate. That is symbolic of many paths for purification, but only one path for Jnanam. And then Krishna talks about the benefits of Jnanam, 4 in number. One is Mohanashaha, strength to face the future by destroying delusion. One is Papanashaha, Sanchita karma is destroyed, Prarabdha karma is defanged, so it will not able to make you suffer. Then one is Sarva karma nashaha. Karma here is mentioned, Sarva is mentioned to emphasize that Jnanam destroys not only Papam, but also Punyam. And the last and most important phalam is Jiva Ishvara Aikyam, the understanding that I am Brahman alone. So a very, very short summary. If you take the summary points down and then refer to the original verses, it will be very useful. So with this, session is over. I am open for questions.
Raviji, can I ask a question?
Please, please.
Maybe I have misunderstood. So you said that Ishvara Swarir is not made of 5 elements, but we say now that Prapancha term has come because of 5 elements. So am I misunderstanding somewhere?
No.
Ishvara Swarira are 3 Prapanchas only?
No.
Then, no?
I'm talking about Avatara Sharira, okay?
Okay,
Not
okay.
about Ishvara
Okay,
Sharira.
sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, thank you so much.
Any other question? So one of the things you need to do when you revise the chapters or read the explanations is that the meaning of every single word must be extremely clear in your mind. Whichever word you use, you must know exactly what it means, because it's a shastram which teaches through words alone, and words are capable of multiple interpretations. Like just now you saw Shariram. One talked about Ishvara Shariram. So when you say Ishvara Shariram, then obviously what she's saying is correct. Ishvara Shariram is nothing but Panchabhutas, because it is a universe. But when you say Avatara Shariram, it's a totally different kettle of fish. Because Avataram belongs to which reality? Paramarthika, Vyavaharika, or Pratibhasika?
Paramarthika.
Pratibhasika.
Pratibhasika.
Pratibhasik.
Who else says Pratibhasika?
Pratibhasika.
Why?
Because it is not Paramarthika reality, it is neither Vyavaharika.
It's not a reality for everyone. It's for you, believe.
Yes. So Pratibhasika means what? Exactly.
You believe.
You see it and therefore it exists. What is the example of a Pratibhasika reality which you all...
A dream.
A dream. So for you, that dream is very real because you see it. If the tiger was chasing you in the dream, I mean, as a dream person who was being chased with a dream tiger, you cannot sit around and say, no, I'm not being chased. So for you, it is real because you see it. So Pratibhasika means literally that which you see, but which is not really there. And therefore you see the, sorry? Go ahead.
Sir, sorry, I interrupted.
No, tell me.
Sir, so Pratibhasika is a subjective reality?
Pratibhasika
Yes.
is subjective reality. You see it, therefore it is real for you. So what they are saying is that Krishna's body is Pratibhasika reality. You see it, therefore it is real. And therefore the stories like he expanded his body to huge levels, or he shrunk his body, or he was hit by arrows and nothing happened to him. All these stories can be said to have no logical defect, because the body is not made of 5 elements. The body is Pratibhasika. If the body was made of 5 elements, then of course you can't say that.
Acharya.
Yeah.
So, but in the Mahabharata, like Krishna is one, like looks like he's in the Vyavaharika somehow. So all of this was kind of in the mind of Arjuna, like a dream.
No. Pratibhasika means you are seeing, right? In your dream, are you not seeing?
Yes.
But from a different level of reality, in the waker's level of reality, the dream is not there.
So, but in the war, everybody was kind of in Vyavaharika and they can see Krishna there.
Everybody, the Pratibhasika for everybody.
I see. I see. Thank you.
Om Acharya ji.
Yeah, Rishmaji.
As you said that Avatara has no connection with the Punyam and Papam,
Yeah.
then why the Avatara's life was so difficult? I mean, see the Rama, God, Lord Rama, Lord Krishna.
Well, the avatara is meant for a specific purpose. Now, if you have an avatara who is, who looks beyond human problems, will you correlate?
No.
And Lord Rama's, avatara was a very specific purpose. What was that?
Ravana's death.
To teach dharma.
To teach dharma. To teach the correct way of living. That is why it's called Maryada Purushottama. And to teach how you live, you have to live that life. And with that life, you have to have all sorts of problems. So that is why it is presented as a person who has gone through troubles in life.
So,
Yeah.
were there the Vedas in knowledge imparted to the women also, or were there gurukuls for them also in the this times?
No, Vedas said that the knowledge for the man, the teacher was the Shishya, and for the lady, the teacher was a husband. So lady was also eligible for Vedic rites only after marriage, because after marriage, the man is supposed to teach the woman the same things which he has learnt. That is the Vedic system. Not true today, but still, that is system.
So there are no lady sannyasis, that means, in that time.
There are plenty. There are plenty. You got knowledge, right? Once you got knowledge from your husband, it's no different from getting it from the guru. You decide whether to take sannyasa or not.
Acharya?
Yeah.
If you're saying Avatara is a Pratibhasika relative reality,
Correct.
we can then assume that there might be avatars that not everyone today is aware of.
You can assume that, yes.
Thank you.
So in fact, it stands to reason from the scripture that avatara would be there. But you should remember yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. If that condition is not fulfilled, then the trigger for the avatar's birth is not there.
That is also a subjective view. Some would say the world is in a very bad state. Others would say Dharma is standing still.
Where is Dharma standing still? You have thousands of people learning. In fact, you have more people learning today Vedas than they were learning 100 years ago, or maybe 50 years ago. See, whatever is happening in the world in terms of what you term evil or pain, that is not adharma, okay? If you are saying that people are dying by the dozens or are in miserable trouble, is that adharma?
No.
You should distinguish very clearly. People going through pain, people dying in wars, all this is part of karma only. That is not adharma. People, there may be a dharmic dictator or a dharmic person, but unless the situation becomes so bad that the dharmic people are in danger of elimination, there is no cause for the avatar to come. That is what Krishna said. Right? Yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. When a state arrives, when the very people who protect dharma are in danger, then he has to come to save them or eliminate the wicked. I'm not saying, mind you, that there is no avatara, okay, Sapandana? If
Yes.
you found one, I would like to meet him also.
I'll let you know, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the patience. So we'll start with the 5th chapter from the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam
Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate Om Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you,
Thank you, Acharya ji.
Right.
Thank